Okay, I'd like to call to order the Township Council meeting for August 4th, 2020. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Concord Township is live streaming the meeting. We would ask if anyone else that's recording so would state so now. I see a camera in the back. I probably know who that belongs to. It is out of the way and it is not inconveniencing the group, so that's perfectly fine. First item on the agenda is the public meeting minutes approval. Do I have a motion to approve the public meeting minutes of July 7th regular meeting? Do I have a motion to do so?
So move.
We have a second.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next is the expenditures for the month of $1,451,152.40. June payroll of $210,389.29. Current township bills totaling $1,136,739.80. And current sewer bills totaling $104,023.31. The township bills, the $1.1 million reflects the payment to the road program of approximately $600,000. Do I have a motion to make those expenditures?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Gillespie, would you kindly handle item number 3, please?
Okay, this is resolution number 44 of 2020, resolution of the Concord Township Council congratulating Eli M. Waldman on his outstanding achievement in attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. Whereas Eli M. Waldman is the recipient of the highest scouting award, Eagle Scout. In honor of his achievement, a court of honor is being held. And whereas the Boy Scouts of America is a vital force in the development of our youth through its many programs which encourage the ability of its members to do things for themselves and especially for others. One of the major objectives in the scouting program is to develop citizenship through community involvement, and in addition to working for citizenship merit badges, Scouts are encouraged to participate in community service projects. And whereas for his community service project, Eli cleared and modified a hiking trail behind the Concord Elementary School. The project consisted of installing trail markers, clearing an area for a new trail, and improving an existing trail. The project entailed acquiring the materials, installing 14 posts in the ground, and placing trail markers on the post and on trees. Eli directed the many volunteers in all aspects of the project. Over 195 and a half volunteer hours were utilized completing this project. The new trail will help with the education of students on the environment, trail safety, and how to have fun in the outdoors. And whereas Eli M. Waldman of Troop 260 has proven himself to be an outstanding member of the Boy Scouts of America, having served as patrol leader, assistant patrol leader, troop guide, instructor, and quartermaster. The Eagle Scout Award is a distinction that will follow him throughout life. Therefore, be it resolved that the Concord Township Council congratulates Eli Waldman on being the recipient of the highest scouting award, Eagle Scout, and encourages him to continue his commitment to excellence. This is in the form of a motion, Mr. President, for resolution.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think Eli is with us this evening. Eli, in the past, we used to do a group photo, but I think with the social distancing requirements, we're going to have to not do that. Amanda, could you maybe turn and face there with you? How about we'll stand up behind you? How's that?
Congratulations.
We're good. Why don't you stand right here in the middle? There you go. That's good. There we go. Thank you so much, and thank you for your effort. I also want to thank the Scout leaders. We see them here quite a bit for their dedication to this great organization and the many scouts they have brought us here in the past. So keep up the good work, gentlemen. Thank you. Next monthly activity reports, Pennsylvania State Police. I think we have Trooper Tobin with us this evening. Podium is yours.
Everybody hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So earlier around 2:30 p.m. today, we had a potential missing person at the Ridley Creek State Park. I had shared this information on our social media with all of our townships, and I'm asking that you guys please be diligent. And if you observe any young white male between 18 to 19 years of age, he was last seen wearing a black shirt with the number 19 on the back. He was wearing black knee-high socks and sneakers. One of our witnesses at the Ridley Creek State Park had observed this young male jump off of the bridge into the water and has not seen him come out since. We have our teams out there as we speak doing a really diligent, thorough search of the entire area at this time. So if there's any information, like I said, we don't have any information I gave you is what we have currently at this time. So any help would be greatly appreciated. Secondly, as far as the incidents in the township go, we had 694 incidents occur within Concord Township in the month of July, 37 crashes and 3 DUIs. As we all know, right now, with the tropical storm that hit, please be safe. We have a lot of the traffic lights on Route 1 that are still out of service at this time, and the roads in Concord Township that are still either flooded, have down power lines, or down trees, which make it untravelable, would be Marshall Road in Britton Lake, Concord Road at Station, and Valley Brook Road at Smith Bridge. Okay? We are working at this time, hopefully within the next hour or two, to clear those up. We've been running very heavily this morning and throughout the afternoon today. Also, to the current climate, everybody is well versed on the George Floyd incident. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and you guys know what the state police is doing as a response to what happened. So, myself, our station commander, Lieutenant Hennigan, we have been meeting frequently with the other Delaware County police chiefs and captains in our area to work on a law enforcement reform, just to make sure we're all on the same page. We're doing use of force curriculum. We're talking about continued education and training within our departments with our members, different community engagements, citizens, police academies that I'm looking to try to get up and going and team up with all of our Delaware County municipalities, hopefully in 2021. In addition to that, if anybody has any suggestions, recommendations, I am an open book. I'm super personable, so if you need me, if you want to pick my brain and have any solutions or recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me. My information is at the front. Also, lastly, I will end with this. We do have an upcoming golf outing that's taking place in Philadelphia. It's called Bala Golf Club. So with that being said, we couldn't have our Camp Cadet program this year due to the virus. So we're still trying to keep it alive, and if anybody's interested in volunteering, being a participant, or sponsoring our event for our youth, which is a week-long program that we put on, that information is at the front desk as well. So with that said, does anybody have any questions for me? Yes. that's another reason why I'm here today. I would like for you guys to please pass the word. I'm going to be out there. I just got the green light to start back up and engaging person-to-person contact. So now that I've been given this green light last week, I am clear to do all of my in-person trainings, civilian-based trainings, and educational programs. So with that being said, if anybody is interested in, whether it's feedback, whether it's recommendations, what I said about that civilian police academy that I'm going to start doing next year, which is great because then you guys will be able to get to see our tactics and what we do behind the scenes. So you can get a better understanding of maybe why we do the things that we do instead of making prejudgments for some situations. And also being able to be more knowledgeable on the expectations of police officers and what you could be expected to see and how, if you're treated unfairly, that the state police has a program in place where you could call and report misconduct, things like that. And again, my information's up at the front, and I'll be more than happy to work with each and every one of you and the people within Concord Township to get the ball rolling with that.
Okay. Trooper Tobin, I have a question. Are there any links that we might be able to put on our website that would help people better understand the programs that you're offering, such as the ones you just recited?
Yes, I can actually
To Amanda?
Yeah,
And then we can somehow incorporate that on our Facebook page
absolutely.
for those so interested? And another question, I keep driving by, when are you moving into your new home there on Baltimore Pike?
Well, we were supposed to move in this month. That's not going to happen. So, mid-September.
Okay,
Not a definitive date yet, but we are very excited. We are going to expect to have a big grand opening event, which I would love for all of you guys to be a part of and participate in. I will extend that invitation out to our township,
great.
and when that event is going to happen, the more the merrier. Obviously, with the given situation that we have with the virus, we have to be careful, but maybe a few months later, depending on how this plays out, I would love to be able to have everybody come and support.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move right on with the agenda. Thank you for coming out. We hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Next item would be Sewer Department report. Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, thank you. The activity report for July. Both the main plant and Riviera plant continue to meet discharge requirements within the parameters of the NPDES permits. The operations staff performed 15 lateral inspections as required for resale certification during the month of July. The sewer department has been performing rock drilling tests at various locations in the township, preparation for future sewer projects. And finally, the Penn's Grant 1 and 2 sewer project bid opening was on July 28th, and a recommendation will be later on in tonight's meeting. I will recommend awarding a contract for this work at Penn's Grant 1 and 2. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Under item number 4, item number 3, Code Enforcement Officer, Mano could not make it tonight, but his report is made part of the record. Rich Jewelson is not here this evening. They did not meet in July, so there is no report for them other than what we acted on last month. Solicitor, Mr. Donahue.
Be advised that the Concord Ventures matter, there's a pretrial conference scheduled with Judge Whalen on August 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Township Engineer Nate Klein is not here this evening. Amanda, Township Manager report.
Thank you so much. I just want to remind council members when you're voting on items, please make sure that you raise your hand so folks at home know that it's you, because with the mask, obviously, it's hard to figure out who's doing what. I just have two quick announcements. I know the people that are in the audience, our IT person sitting here. Obviously, we have issues with this room, acoustics, microphones. They are working on it to figure everything out for us, and we hope by the September meeting we don't have any more issues. So, council members already know that's why he's here. So I just want to remind people you need to speak into the microphone. I know it's hard for all of us when we're talking. We're trying to face a certain way, but if you can speak directly into it, it'll get picked up on the video. Additionally, sewer payments. So we have uploaded all the data, and we hope that within the month we have sewer payments available online. So we'll make sure that we put information out. But I wanted to make sure I make that announcement because we've had a lot of folks who ask all the time if they can pay by a credit card or do it online. So we are working on that. We hope to have that launched within a month.
Okay, thank you. Public forum, public comment, anyone? Please come up to the microphone, and we'll need your name. Let her spray it real quick.
Betty Alcorn.
Thank you.
In fact, I thought it was interesting when I pulled in tonight, the hurricane left, and they're out there playing pickleball, so. You got it. All right. Next, please. Anyone? Go ahead, Josh, you're next. Go right ahead. That was nice of her.
I touched. Josh Tversky, Concord Township.
Street address, please, Josh.
1 Cedar Grove, Drive.
Thank you.
Under the July payroll approval for $210,389.29. I heard Councilmember Mahoney vote yes. He didn't disclose that his wife works for the township, and her payroll is part of the approved payroll. Just want to make sure, does Mr. Mahoney's wife still
Yes.
Okay.
Next
Uh,
item.
I did a right to know to get the invoices related to call it the Las Vegas sign at Smithbridge Park. Sign from Casey Signs invoice, $61,700.
Which sign was that? When was that bill paid, Josh? Okay,
Date is 6/18.
okay. And your point is?
It states there's a quantity of one sign, and there's an invoice that was sent, and the right to know request was for the invoices related to Smithbridge Road Park sign.
Okay,
What was sent. There's a Power Electric sign, I assume for the electrical work there, $10,839.50. I just want to make sure I have this right. So as per the approved invoices, the one sign at the park, the total was $72,589.50.
with the electrical work, yes, it was.
Okay,
Now, I want to say one more thing, though. You also approved the motion to pay those bills that month, too, Josh.
no, not for this. I
Yes, you did. In fact, I
didn't-
go out to my car and get them.
I didn't approve the budget.
I have
Approve
the minutes from the meeting where the sign here, you not only approved the pay, the one here, and signed the checks.
This
And
sign,
then you also approved the bill list for the month that those two expenditures were made. If you want to, give me a minute, I'll go get the car.
doesn't
and get
matter,
it.
I didn't,
Okay, well, you signed, you
and this,
didn't have a problem with it when we paid the bill, but now you do.
this sign was not bid, correct?
It was through the CoStar's contract, which we do not have to bid. It's like when we buy a truck or anything
None of
else
this-
in the township.
None of this was,
The CoStar's contract, we did not have to get a bid. The electrical work was under the threshold that we could get a telephonic bid.
okay, so it's a simple yes or no answer. It was not bid.
It was purchased through the CoStar networks, which the state is allowed to do. So it is bid because it's a statewide contract. That's how we buy our trucks, that's how we buy our rock salt, and that's how we bought the signs.
Whether it may be legal or not,
It was legal. Josh, are you
Totally
accusing, Josh?
I'm not listening to,
No, I'm listening to you. Are you accusing us of doing something illegal?
I am
Are
accused.
you accusing us of doing something illegal, Josh? Man up. If you are, say it. If not, don't say it.
I'm getting to it. So you probably know this, but so I posted the sign, I posted these invoice signs on social media, and I thought I very cleverly used the sign to inform people what it cost. Put up the sign saying I cost $72,589.50.
You distorted the township
What's,
property.
what's interesting is that Ron Para, Para Electric, who submitted this invoice, commented on that, saying that the work was for 2 signs.
The sign for there, and then it was for the sign for the library. We relocated the library sign at the township expense.
That's not what he was insinuating. I don't understand, is it 1 sign or for 2 signs?
Amanda?
Anyway,
Well,
it doesn't really matter.
you're
because-
right.
And
That's the,
I'll make
that's
my-
the only thing you said so far that's correct. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter because we should be bidding these contracts. Because
Josh?
spend $72,500.
Josh, oddly enough, you did not have a problem with it when you were here, Josh.
It's crooked.
You-
Crooked.
Wait a minute, what are you saying?
Said it's,
So we're crooked.
I think so.
You think we are crooked?
You know that.
Josh, why
Josh,
would we
are you
bid something
saying we
below
are
the
crooked
bidding
up here?
threshold?
You're saying we are criminal?
So,
Josh, answer my question, Josh.
but I would
I've
like to
answered all your questions. Answer my question, Josh.
answer.
Okay, thank you.
So, Amanda Sirach, at the last meeting, I believe you mentioned that the 2019 audit was complete. And as usual, I think in the past, you and the auditor, you intend to go over the audit findings in public
Yes,
forum?
yes, I actually intend to do that in September.
Okay, I hope that they'll be prepared to defend their independence. You'll see right on the front of the report, it says independent auditor's report.
I-
So hopefully they'll be able to defend that.
Next question.
Yeah.
You asked a question, and when the auditor gets here, you can ask
When
it of her.
Is that scheduled for?
September.
September 1st meeting. I intended on having the auditor present.
Thank you. Agenda Resolution 2020, Dog Park Rules. So when you passed Resolution 43 of 2020 for the pickleball rules, you had a penalty violation. You had a penalty in there for the violation of the rules, revocation of the person's license to use the courts. Is that correct? Is that going to be the same penalty for violating the dog park? We haven't been able to see the resolution. It's not public.
It's a draft. But yes, that same language, I believe, is carried over for this regulation as well.
Okay, so that begs the question. If it's a penalty, Home Rule Charter is very specific that anything that includes a penalty is considered an ordinance. It needs to go through the hearing process. And it's troublesome, and as Amanda just alluded to, it's a draft. Nobody gets to see it. It's going to get passed tonight, and there's a penalty involved.
Well,
Park?
Mr. Tversky, before you,
I'm not done.
excuse me.
I'm going to have the whole meeting.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm not-
Before you make a
You
misstatement.
are done. Let Mr. Donahue respond. Go ahead, you.
Before you make a misstatement, I'm not aware in the rules for the dog park where a specific penalty is being imposed.
Told it was the same language as the pickleball,
Well, but you're, Mr. Tversky, because we haven't even read the resolution yet.
because it's not public, because you don't have a hearing.
Mr. Tversky, it's a draft. This board will consider the draft this evening. They're either going to agree with it or they're not.
But they could vote to agree with it
Excuse
one
me,
sitting,
any
correct?
person or persons, partnership or other, when violating any of the rules, regulations applicable to the township's dog park is subject to the revocation of his or their approval of use of the park. It says nothing about a penalty. Thank you, Mr. Tversky.
That is a penalty. and
It is not.
Circumventing the Home
It
Rule
is-
Charter.
It is
Next.
not.
Circumventing
Next-
the Home Rule
next-
Charter.
Josh,
Excuse
next
me.
I mean,
Okay,
question.
thank-
it's
thank you. I'm
brilliant.
just
It's
pointing that out
brilliant,
for
but
you.
you're circumventing the Home Rule Charter.
Mr. President, just to be curious, what's the limitation on questions? There's other people here that would
Yes, I
probably
think he ought to move on with his questions. What's your next one, Josh?
So Pulte Homes, the court case that got skimmed over by Hugh Donahue a second ago in his solicitor's report. Let me see if I have the timeline right here. It came before council. We rejected it. They won in court because the ordinance is written terribly. Thank you, Hugh Donahue. We then appealed, and Judge Whelan sent it back here for additional hearing. Then we had a hearing. We rejected that. Back to court. We lost it again. Same reason. Now, you can go online. It's all public. Now, Mr. Donahue, on behalf of council has appealed yet again in this like extraordinary appeal, like pretty please, second, third time. And now we're in some sort of limbo. We've lost twice, we're waiting for the third time. So that's actually the timeline. I just also want to point out that on the township website, under the Pulte Homes conditional use hearing, it states that it's for 128 townhomes. That's misleading because their plan is for stacked townhomes. It's actually for 256 units. There's 256 potential families that are going to live in homes that are going to be there. I think that's misleading.
Okay.
As of now, they've won. As of now, they've won because of the horrible language in the ordinance. So, and
Okay.
you
next.
were giving me grief at the hearing over the twisted language, tortured language in the park regulations over whether residents.
Josh, just get on with it. Come on.
So,
There's no question there. It's just a manifesto. Please get on with it.
moving on to our illustrious solicitor. The Beaver Valley Road signs that were mentioned 2 meetings ago. I guess they're Trump signs. I don't even know, actually. I heard through the grapevine there's big Trump signs on Beaver Valley Road. And I guess council decided to send them a letter stating they were in violation of the sign ordinance. I wanted to know what the status of that was. 'Cause I was curious.
Is there anything to update on that?
My understanding that he was sent, like every other case, a violation notice, and if he doesn't conform, there'll be a citation, and it goes to district court.
Curious because it's on tape, Mr. Donahue, you saying that there's really no way that would be enforced and you'd almost certainly lose in court because it's a First Amendment issue.
I didn't, Mr. Twersky.
You did.
Mr. Twersky,
Okay.
that is not exactly what I said, and if you want to play back exactly what was said, that would be appropriate. Your editorial remarks are not accurate. Thank you.
So you believe the township would win that case? They would fight it?
I am not taking a position on that case.
You did.
Excuse
You
me, Mr.
other night.
Twersky, until the case gets before the judge and/or the district justice, I will make my argument at that time. I'm
putting
not
it on the
making-
record
Mr.
that-
Twersky, you are
that
not a
again-
judge.
Put whatever you want on the
Let me
record.
fin- you were
If
not
you
a
need to put
judge.
something on the record so we can get over with this, go ahead and put it on the record.
Yet again, the ordinance was written as
In
written terribly, does not stand up to scrutiny.
in your opinion, again. Anything else you have, Josh? Are you done?
$4,075 a month for retainer.
Okay. Josh, anything else you
No
have?
detail behind that.
Josh, anything else you have?
That's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you too for showing up. Anyone else, please? Let's go. Anton? Name and address, please.
Anton Andrew, 26 Southridge Drive, Bennett Square, Pennsylvania. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak. As a resident of Dayton, my name is Anton Andrew. I was a candidate. I am a candidate for state representative in the 160th district. Thank you. Rookie mistake. And for full disclosure, I am a candidate for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, 160th district, which includes parts of Delaware and Chester counties, all of Concord. That said, I am here this evening to talk about something that is urgent but non-political, and that is the Black Lives Matter movement and the need to address systemic racism in all our communities. Our founding fathers stated a quite self-evident truth, and that is all people are created equal. We ended with our pledge earlier saying, with liberty and justice for all. That is something that Americans on both sides of the political spectrum agree with. However, we have not achieved those goals with regard to people, communities of color. That is why I'm here this evening. Realizing the promise of America requires that we all step forward, especially put on my glasses. Eyes are the first casualty. Realizing the promise of America requires that we all step forward, especially our leaders. That is why I've drafted a resolution for your consideration that acknowledges that Concord, like every municipality, has work to do to identify and root out racism within its borders. I'll mention as an aside, it was great to see Trooper Tubin here earlier talking about our state police recognizing the need to identify and root out racism within its own. And this township not only asks, this resolution not only asks the township to identify and root out racism within its borders, it also commits the township to that task. It is something I'm asking every municipal governing body in this district to do. There are several township residents here with me who would be willing to assist you in doing that work, and there are many more waiting in the wings. This initiative has broad support in our area, as witnessed by recent, well-attended, peaceful demonstrations in Chadds Ford, Kennett Square, Media, Westchester. As I said earlier, this is not a political issue. It is a human rights issue. By embracing it, you will unite us in the service of America, making America the best she can be. I am happy and I am available to provide any assistance I can. I hope you will give this resolution your careful consideration and thought and adopt it at your next meeting. Finally, thank you very much for your service to the residents.
Thank you for your comments, Andrew. Anton. All right, next. All right.
Bry, 6 Robert Adams Court, Valley. I never speak at stuff like this, but
Hold it. There we go.
Anton's resolution. As a mother of biracial children, I know how important it is for us to make a community where our children feel safe. My daughter told me, she's half Indian and half white. Mom, she said, I know I'm not going to get shot, but I'm afraid to go back to school because I don't want kids to make fun of me because I'm brown. And that broke my heart. And I know there are a lot of people of color in our community, and I don't want any other children to feel unsafe where we live. I want this to be a great place for kids to grow up. So please take into consideration this resolution. Thank you.
Comments. All right, Dave.
Closer? How's that? Testing. David Cleary, there we go, 72 Schoolhouse Lane. Couple things tonight, and just dovetailing off of what Anton and Jennifer said. We're at a crux where we're looking at public safety, looking at how it deals and treats people. And I'm wondering what the status of the Public Safety Advisory Committee is that was started 10 years ago. I don't know if it ever got off. I'm not sure if they had any public meetings ever, but where's it at right now?
It has basically, it no longer functions. A lot of members have retired. It might be something that once we get out of this COVID shutdown, we might want to resurrect, especially in light of the programs that the corporal brought up this evening. Might be something to resurrect in the future. But I would say right now, the best thing I could say is it's dormant. It needs to be repopulated. It needs to be, its purpose probably needs to be re-examined in light of everything that's been going on in the world right now. And it probably should be something to consider to bring back in the future.
How could a citizen?
Well, once I think council has the chance to deliberate and debate over it, if there is a need or a feeling to resurrect it, we will post it on the website, and then people that are interested can apply.
Okay. And to dovetail, even here in Concord Township, we've seen some race-related incidents. Councilmember Harding can speak to it. It happened right up the street from his house. Andrew. A couple of years ago. In our neighborhood, we had two problems. One of the council members at the time was having problems with a person jogging in the neighborhood on Sunday mornings. Concerned that person may be a gun threat. And what we also saw with Ahmed Arbery, Georgia, was the same reason those folks stalked him, tracked him down with guns at the ready, was this myth that people go jogging with guns hidden in their shorts, so it's all right to make false statements about that. And while the state police were actively trying to get that jogger to stop jogging on Sunday mornings, in the same neighborhood where he was jogging, a drunk, racist person escalated in his threatening behavior to the point where he pointed a gun in an African-American Amazon delivery driver's face and said, "If I ever see you around here again," you can imagine the term he used, "I'm going to kill you." He pointed a shotgun in his face. About 6 hours later, he led the state police on a high-speed, dangerous, drunken chase, almost ran over one of the state police officers that was watching his house. He effectively checked the Black Lives, the Blue Lives, and the All Lives Matter in his drunken high-speed chase. Luckily, no innocent civilians in our neighborhood were hurt. I think it would be good to start bringing these discussions more to the table and working with the state police so there's better collaboration on identifying the real threats in our neighborhoods. So they're not going after the Sunday morning joggers, and they're going after the real threats, and they can better target the real threats to our community. And so hopefully that engagement point with the state police can be established. And I realized 10 years ago when you formed that committee, there was a hope that would get there. I don't think it ever did. You got a question?
I didn't catch the end of that. It was somewhat garbled. There was a whole 10 years ago something. I'm sorry. I was trying to.
Yeah, 10 years ago you started the Public Safety Advisory Committee. It never got far enough to have a public meeting. My recommendation would be to have public meetings with the Public Safety Advisory,
Well,
the public.
I think it's very timely you came here this evening with the state police officer being here. I think you heard us say that we'd like to share the programming the state police has on our website so the community can be involved, and perhaps, as you said, and if council, after deliberating, decides to resurrect the Public Safety Committee or whatever we want to call it in its new form, by all means, we will advertise that on the website, and people will be able to apply for positions on that council or board or whatever we want to call it.
And I'd suggest not only opening it up to regular citizens like me, also open up, have public meetings, not on the.
Well, I think that would be under the purview of the committee once it's started. So we would have to determine that at that time.
In the historical commission, I tried to go to the meeting last month.
Yeah. I think it was because of the COVID. I think we're going to be kicking their meetings back off in the very near future, Amanda, with social distancing.
I'm trying to update the website. It shows it happened.
Okay, we will make amends to that.
There's 2 vacancies.
Could be, yes. We have some candidates, but there again, we haven't been interviewing candidates in light of COVID. We've been operating since
The application.
Yeah, I think there's a application process on the website.
Basically, you can send to me like a resume, your interest, and we'll forward it on, and then we'll schedule interviews.
Okay. And is that it, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Goebel, I think you had some comments. I saw you back there.
Goebel, Lane. Have 4 quick issues to address. First is property tax. I'm interested to learn about the township's role in the determination of township, county, and school taxes. Let me throw out a theoretical example so I can better understand your process. Say, for instance, I were to purchase a commercial property in the township with a grade D structure. That property had been abandoned for years. I acquired.
Do you want to call the property by name? I think we know where
No,
we're
this
going
is-
with
this-
this.
they're,
This is a hypothetical? Okay.
This is not really specific to a property. This is really a general taxation question. But so say I get the permits, new HVAC, new electrical, I add bathrooms, I add a commercial kitchen. Then assume the township notifies the county to perform a reassessment. Is that correct?
We send our certificate of occupancies to the township, and then they trigger, and they're the assessor's office. They are the ones that will reassess or decide if there's an adjustment in the assessment required.
Understood. So, say for instance, X amount of time, 6 months, a year later, does the township check to ensure that happened? I don't know if you email it, it's possible it got potentially lost in the mail, the county screwed up, is it part of our process to check?
Amanda, you had something to comment?
Okay, so the tax collectors get interim bills on a lot of those, and they know which ones. So the assessor, the county handles assessment.
I understood.
So
but
they
you notify
determine-
them.
Are you asking that, do we follow up to see if the assessor's office decided it warranted an interim assessment or not?
Correct.
No, we do not. Nor does the school district, who has more to lose than we do. Perhaps it's something we consider, but if the assessor's office decides that it doesn't warrant an interim assessment, then we have no other choice but to appeal their taxes.
Is there a confirmation that the county receives your notification?
Okay.
Yes, so when we send them over every month. They get all the COs in a packet, it goes to a woman at the county's office, they acknowledge receipt of it, and then they determine the assessment, we get the interims.
If you don't receive the acknowledgement, then I ping them again.
In my office, they check up, they know.
Can you keep all these records in perpetuity?
I mean, I don't say perpetuity,
Well, that's a
Records Retention
four-word
Act
choice, but-
requires X.
Well, if it's a hypothetical property, I guess we wouldn't have to worry about it, right? In this hypothetical case, unless you're asking about a specific
Right.
property.
something that hypothetically happened 10 years ago, would those records be available?
That I can't answer, but I can tell you ever since they have the system, they have that stuff.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on to issue number 2. 711 Concord Road. I've started for several months, makeshift parking lot, the old James Pool slab, is a violation of multiple codes. I've been promised a response from the township for 8 months, heard nothing. What's the township's position?
Was this dispatched to who, the code enforcement officer or the engineer or both?
We've had meetings with you on that, and I believe
And
actually,
I never got an answer.
I believe that the solicitor at the last meeting actually commented about this. You had a question about land development and what requires.
Okay, can I make a suggestion? If he has a question regarding that, could you make sure that the code enforcement officer, whoever is required to respond to that, gets a prompt response
Well,
off to Mr. Goebel?
well, the code enforcement officer has responded to questions of Mr. Goebel. In fact, myself and the code enforcement officer recently visited that property within the last few weeks to make another inspection. So,
Yeah, but I'm hearing specifically the slab where the building burned down was?
Correct.
Can we have someone look at that?
we've already discussed that issue. That is not a violation of the code.
Can we,
No, sir, we've not discussed it. You started my question. I'd like a
Okay.
written response.
let's get a written response. Can we get a written response on that, you?
Hey,
Can we get a written response on
common
that?
sense, there's
Okay.
no parking.
Yeah, but
That's an obvious.
he's not required to tear the slab down.
Pardon me?
So he's not required to take the slab down. He is not required to move, and he can use the slab for the purpose of parking cars, in my opinion. But we'll clear that up for you.
We're going by code, right? Code requires parking lines, it requires curb stops, a number of things.
Okay, well,
Certain dimensions.
I would think if that's what is holding up, is making it non-compliant, and the property owner elects to put striping and curb stops in, then I think we might have solved the problem. Okay,
Requirement for parking,
okay.
as is landscaping, as is certain dimensions, it doesn't,
No.
as is buffer zones,
Okay, we will, but not for,
But-
not for an existing,
David,
not for an
always
existing structure,
not
though.
received a reply.
We will get a written response off,
If,
okay?
if I may, Mr. Goebel, I thought that your questions had been answered, but if you feel that they were not, why don't you please simply put in writing exactly what your question is, and you can send it directly to my attention, because you do have my contact information as we have communicated before.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Cleary? Thank you. Anything else?
Donahue, I will resend that information for the 5th or 6th time. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Issue number 3, the high-intensity unshielded lighting on that same property. Last month's council meeting, Mr. Donahue said words to the effect that good improvements were made, but he was going to leave it to the code enforcement officer to make the final determination. Where I'm standing, nothing's changed. I'm Mr. Donahue, what it is you heard that made you say you understood improvements have been made.
It had been indicated to me that certain shields were placed on the light that faced Concord Road.
Oh, okay. Facing Concord Road, but not the ones facing my property.
I do not know any of the particulars of any light facing your property. I think initially there was, I think the code enforcement officer had issued a letter to the owner of 711 Concord Road with respect to a light that was on Concord Road, and corrections had been made. I'll check the records. If there is another light, I'd be happy to look into that with the code enforcement
The
officer.
citation man issued back in November, which included photographs of the two lights, one on the back of the restaurant, one on that other building. So they were in the citation, there were photographs of the lights. From where I'm standing, nothing's changed. Thank you. Issue number 4, floodplain violation investigation. I inquire on the status.
Sure, Mr. Cavadias has drafted a letter with respect to those alleged violations. I am reviewing that letter, and that letter should be going out by the end of the week.
Okay. Side note, the rains today, probably 2 feet deep of standing water on the back of that lot. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move right on. Maureen, do you have something? Because we're going to go right from you into this, and then we're going to move on.
Sorry,
Name and address again, please, for the record.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Have you guys decided anything on the dog front?
No.
No, you haven't put together a plan to start?
We're still working on the issues that are going to enter into our studying that whole site and figuring out what we're going to do with it. Your answer to your first question, I was sorry to be so blunt, but there's no change from when you asked the question last month.
And you've rented the horse barn out again tonight for another?
We're going to renew the lease with Ms. Burkheiser, who I think has been running that for probably 10 or 15 years now. And we're
For
gonna
another year?
For another year. We do it on a yearly basis, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We had 2 public comments via internet or through the emails.
Just one clarification. It's not for the barn.
No, it's for the paddock.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
The paddocks, not the
Pastures,
barn.
the pastures.
No one is supposed to be in the barn.
Okay.
Thank you.
The paddocks where the dogs go?
No, the one she's been using for
pasture.
years, the pasture.
Pasture.
Closer to Garner Mine Road.
Where
I
the
think
horses
it's-
Good enough,
currently are.
thank you.
Yeah, where the horses are, the dogs aren't, okay? Amanda, what do we have here? We have Mr. Fannin, who I think Mr. Gillespie has been responding to. He had some questions regarding senior citizen township call helpline help.
Yes, I did. Mr. President, I did respond to Mr. Fannin back on July 20th in an email. Basically, what he was asking is he wanted to know if there was a means for township staff to contact senior citizens to inquire about their safety and health, as well as any specific needs that they may have. And I let Mr. Fannin know that we have a limited staff, and there's just no way we can communicate with all the senior citizens in our township I had suggested, recommended, since I'm on the COSA Advisory Council, that COSA has many, many employees that do these types of things, that he should contact the executive director and he could use my name since I'm on the advisory council. I did not hear back from Mr. Fannin, but I assume that that was a satisfactory response to his question.
His other questions in today's email were regarding, since he is a retired citizen here in Concord Township and has no kids in the school, is concerned about the school taxes, and also if there is any audit done by the Delaware County Commission Office or the Pennsylvania State Department of Revenue to update the Garner Valley School District's budget relative to 2020 school taxes. I think, Amanda, we ought to direct the comment to him, to the school district. It has more to do with school district taxes.
Yes, actually, when that came in, I did direct. However, he did request that it was read for
Okay.
public comment.
We also have someone from Ally Hollish. 2 questions regarding spotter and lantern flies all over the neighborhood. I think, Amanda, we talked about this, that we're going to put some information that the state has regarding spotted lantern flies.
Yep, we have information on our website. We've had information go out on social media and in newsletters. The harsh reality for a lot of us right now is that nymphs are now adults. So your best methods are washing them. I know some people have said a solution of like Dawn dish soap and something else might help. And a lot of people I know in my neighborhood are putting up those tree sticker things that are apparently helping with some of that. It is a huge problem. I think everybody in here probably stepped on one on their way in. We're all trying to be good stewards and figure it out. There are chemicals and pesticides that are being discussed. Nothing we do. They're asking people to still report it, but what I can tell you is they're not doing much, especially at this point. The phone number is 1-888-4-BAD, BAD fly. So it's 1-888-422-3359. There's a host of information. You go to our website, actually, under announcements, you'll see spotted lanternfly. And there are 2 links. Penn State University Extension here has been assisting the State Department of Ag with this effort, but it's such an effort at this point, I think, in terms of reporting. But they give lots of options, and we have information.
Okay, and then her second question had to do with, is the township considering selling any land to developers? I thought was rather odd, and if so, would there be a public hearing? No, we are not considering selling any land to developers that we own. And I would assume that, Mr. Donahue, if we were, we would have to probably have a public hearing. But there is nothing being contemplated at this time.
That is correct, and open space lands that were paid for with open space dedicated funds
Would not be available.
could not be sold in that regard.
Okay. Under new business, Mr. Crossan, would you handle ordinance number 393, please? Before you say that, though, I was unable to attend the public hearing on July 21st, but I did read the transcript, and if council and my colleagues have no objection, I'd like to participate in the vote on this ordinance this evening.
And I make the same request also.
Okay, everybody in agreement? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I would like to propose ordinance number 393 regarding trails, parks, and open space regulations in Concord Township. This would be Chapter 173 of our code, and the ordinance held a hearing, as you noted, on Tuesday, July 21st, which is a requirement prior to passage of such an ordinance. And so I won't read the whole ordinance.
Thank you.
But it is available as amended per our discussion that evening with some minor copy edits and so forth. So, Mr. President, I move that we adopt ordinance number 393, Trails, Parks, and Open Space Regulation.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, I think, Amanda, we have to call the roll if it's an ordinance, if I'm not mistaken. So you're up.
T. Mahoney, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dana Rankin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Michael Harding, how do you vote?
Yes.
John Crossan, how do you vote?
Yes?
John Gillespie, how do you vote? One of the
There's got to be a
Dominic
stretch.
Pileggi, how do you vote?
Yes. The motion passes and the ordinance passes. I think there's a certain amount of days before the official, if memory serves me, 4 days, 5 days, or something like that on the
Should become
ordinance?
effective 5 days after it's
Yeah.
enacted.
Okay. All right, next, Mr. Crossen, Resolution 45 of 2020.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a resolution to apply for a grant from DCED, the Commonwealth Financing Authority, for a grant in the amount of $250,000 from their Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program for open space acquisition in Concord Township. Mr. President, I so move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Crossen, I think you're, Mike, I think the dog park rules and regulations.
Hits just keep on coming,
Yep.
and we move to resolution number 46 with rules for the use of the dog park. And so I can go ahead and
Yeah, go ahead.
read these out. Whereas Concord Township owns and maintains parks and recreation facilities for the use and enjoyment of its citizens, and whereas the Concord Township Council requires all visitors to observe the rules and regulations of its facilities to ensure the proper safety and enjoyment of all the persons who visit its facilities, the following rules apply to any township park specifically designated as a dog park and posted as a dog park within Concord Township. Dog parks are also subject to those regulations set forth in ordinance number 393, Trails, Parks, and Open Space Regulations, which we just passed. Now therefore be it resolved, the Council of Concord Township does hereby adopt the following rules governing the use of the township dog parks. Dog park rules. Dog park hours and closures. The dog park will be available for use, weather permitting, during the hours of sunrise to sunset daily. In the event of the township perceives a need to close the facility for any reason, notice of such closure shall be posted at the entrance of the facility and online. Any person entering the facility after posting of the closure shall be in violation of these rules. Rules. Use of the park is at your own risk. Owners are legally responsible for the behavior of their dogs at all times. Dogs must be leashed while entering and exiting the park. Dog waste must be cleaned up by the dog owner immediately. Owners must be within the dog park and supervising their dog with a leash readily available at all times. Dog handlers must be at least 16 years of age. Children under 16 must always be accompanied by adult and supervised. Any dog displaying aggressive behavior must be removed from the park immediately. Dogs should be under voice control. Human and dog food or treats are prohibited in the park. Glass containers are prohibited in the park. Dogs in heat are prohibited from entry into the park. Sick dogs are prohibited from entry into the park. Dogs known to be aggressive are prohibited from entry into the park. Puppies under 4 months of age are prohibited from entry into the park. Use of the dog park by paid trainers or for organized events is prohibited unless a permit approval has been given by Concord Township. Dog park rules are subject to change by council, and any and all persons or corporations, partnership, or other entity whatsoever violating any of these rules and regulations applicable to the township's dog parks are subject to revocation of his or their license to use the park. Authorized township employees may restrict or reject any individual or group of individuals from park property for any violation of these rules. Mr. President, I so move.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, next is Resolution 47 of 2020, which is a lease agreement for the rental of a portion of 505 Conchester Road. This is about a little over 3 acres that the township, actually I think it was the sewer authority might have bought, or the sewer department when it was first taken over by the township, which is adjacent to the sewer plant. And on that piece of ground there sits a single-family home. We have been running to the same tenant there now for a number of years, and this basically puts the next year of the lease into effect, which would run from October 1 of 2020 through September 30th of 2021. It is a 4-bedroom house at 505 Conchester Road. The tenant pays for all the utilities and all the other fees. We get $1,969.64 the first day of each month. The reason it's such an odd number is it has been having over the years a 3% incremental increase, if I'm not mistaken. So we would need a motion to approve Resolution 47 of 2020.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Dana, you want to handle Resolution 48? of 2020. It's a lease agreement between, I can read it into the record if you like. 48 of 2020, a lease agreement for the rental of a portion of Garner Mine Road and Bethel Road for a horse pasture. And this is the lease between David and Leslie Burkeheiser. It's basically a renewal of the lease that we have done for years. And I don't know what else there is to add about it, but she's been renting this, I think, almost from the time we bought the property, at least 15, 16 years ago.
There has, to avoid any confusion, again, it is for the pasture area only. It is not for the barn, as the barn is not to be used. There have been some confusion about that in the past, but that has been cleared up.
She pays us $1,400 for the use and occupancy premises for a 12-month period. And I think she makes them in $200 payments. For some reason, we get 7 payments of $200. Okay, do you have a motion to approve Resolution 48?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay? Wow. That's all it took. The horse pasture. Okay. John, Mr. Gillespie, I'm going to give you 6, 7, 8, and 9, if you don't mind.
Okay, in the sake of brevity, we have a 9-page easement agreement. Briefly, that's an easement agreement between Concord Woods Homeowners Association and the Township of Concord, which allows 3 properties in Concord Meeting Road to connect by gravity to the township sewer system. So that's in a motion for approval. So we do all 3, or? Yeah, we should probably do it separately.
Do them separately. I would do that one separately. So we have a motion to approve Resolution 49 of 2020 for the easement agreement. We have a second.
Second motion.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, next, John,
Okay,
is the bids.
the award for the Penn's Grant Sewer Project. Bids were received on July 28th. 6 contractors had submitted bids, and we have a recommendation from our sewer engineer, Mr. Fazler, to award the contract to Doli, D-O-L-I, Construction Corporation from Chalfont, PA. Total unit price is $952,117, which is below his estimate as project started. So that's in the form of a motion to award this contract.
We have a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. When would this begin?
That'll be the next question. Walt's getting that. I think we might be starting in the fall. Might be starting
Yes,
soon.
yeah, we need to get some contracts squared away, some DEP permits, et cetera, et cetera.
He was $110,000 under the next bidder, and I think it was even more than that under what we budgeted. So it was good news getting the bid, and the guy does have the experience and qualifications.
Very good news.
Yes.
Do you want me to handle number 8 too?
Yeah, 8 and 9, John.
Okay. Authorization to advertise the ordinance for administrative code. This is in the form of a motion. I know it's been worked on for a long period of time, so that's in the form of a motion, Mr. President.
Second motion.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, number 9, certificate for payment. There's 3 items. We have the change order in the increased amount of $2,308.25. Also have payment to the contractor of $600,787.82. That's for liquid fuel eligible streets. And also for the non-eligible streets, we have a payment of $62,584.81. So that, again, is in the form of a motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There are no escrow releases. We need a motion to accept this complete for filing. The plan at 351 Concord Road, McGrath, final minor subdivision. Do I have a
So
motion to
moved.
do so?
So moved.
Second, John seconds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Other council matters, maybe we'll jump to item 2 first. The COVID-19 update. The emergency declaration the township is under expires on August 7th. I'd like to entertain a motion to extend that to September 4th of 2020. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is the Fall Township Events Community Day and the Senior Expo. Mr. Gillespie, I'm going to lead off with you. Since Senior
yeah.
Expo is your baby, I want to know your thoughts on what we should do with that program.
Well, about 15 years ago, I started the Senior Expo, and very successful. And with the way we're in this COVID-19 situation, I think we need to think a little bit about it. I know just recently, an article in the Delaware County Daily Times, the Delaware County News Network decided to suspend all of its special events for 2020. The events canceled include the Super Sunday in Media, the Penn State Brandywine Craft Show, the Delaware County Community College Flea Market, the Delaware County Halloween Parade, and the Media Art Craft Show. Additionally, in the city of Philadelphia, I know they've canceled the Thanksgiving Day Parade and the Mummers Parade. And when we gather seniors together in a tight room and we have 100 exhibitors, I worry about the health and safety of our seniors. So my suggestion to this council is that we do not have our Senior Expo for this year, and we'll let all of our vendors know that we look forward to seeing them in 2021. But that's in the form of a motion, Mr. President.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those-
I would say that I agree with my colleague, Mr. Gillespie, on this topic. I think that, October is far away. We do need to have planning that goes into this, and with, while we've held our summer events that have been outdoors and so forth, and they're more immediate, given the amount of planning that has to go into this, I think it's prudent to go ahead and cancel it.
I think it's the right move too, and we'll just send, it's the correct move, and we'll just send letters to the vendors and the participants and announcing that we're going to punt it for a year, and we'll revisit it this time next year.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, we've had discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing that we have to start seriously thinking about is the Community Day, which is normally the day when we had the moon bounces and the food vendors and the informational tables and music during the day, and then we would have the fireworks at night in light of what's going on. And I think that's normally, it's about 4 or 5 weeks away. It's the first weekend after Labor Day, right? Yep. So anyway, I don't know, maybe want to talk about it a little bit first, and then figure out which way we want to go.
How does the program, can we just, for everyone's edification, just review kind of the program for the day? Because I know it's a multi-hour event. And
Yeah, my recollection, in fact, I was cleaning out some old pictures, and I found the one from the first one we had, and I was driving the little train car, and after 5 hours of sucking on those fumes, you really wanted to go home. But my recollection is that we would usually have some tables, like the state representatives, some of the local businesses, the library, maybe the Rotary clubs, and some other groups would have tables, informational tables there with giveaways. I think we used to have Lespeda's do the cheesesteaks. We had a water ice vendor. We had some other free foods and things of that nature. But in the park area, we had a setup that used to have a moon bounce and I guess a rock climbing wall and all other kinds of games that we would get from Betty Bounces. And then we would have a train or some sort of vehicle that would do laps around the track for the little kids to ride in. My recollection would start like around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe a little earlier. 4?
Yeah,
I always 4. And then, that was it. And then I guess we had somebody playing music in the bandstand. And then the culmination of the evening was the fireworks that would go off at dusk. And that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
I did read an article in the paper a few weeks ago how, I think they quoted the owner of Betty's, that they aren't renting a lot of moon bounces and rock climbing walls. I think she said her biggest rental right now was the water slides, but they were people having birthday parties for kids at their home. So again, I'm here. We got to figure out what we want to do. I don't think it's going to be practical to do all the amusements. I think that if we can agree on that, that might be something that maybe we could build off that to develop a motion of what we want this thing to look like. Personally, I think the fireworks, my recollection of that is a lot of people would just pull up in their cars and watch that. We have a lot of people that can see it from their backyards. They would just show up on the field with the blankets. They would park in the Garner Valley School District parking lot. I don't think the fireworks are going to be as problematic as all the other stuff between 4 and dusk, maybe. So
Yeah, I mean, we have the summer concerts going on. We've had the movie night recently. So I think that sort of that evening portion of the program feels consistent with what we've been doing. So I would propose then that maybe we cancel the afternoon portion with vendors and the bounces and so forth, and just keep some sort of a band in the bandstand and do the fireworks.
Perhaps you could
what time does the music? What time does the music program start?
So that's different times throughout the day.
No.
It's around like that 6
When we
o'clock.
have
Mhm.
when we have a music program now, what time does it normally start?
I think it's around 6 o'clock, I want to
So
say.
maybe we just had the music at 6 and the fireworks at dusk, or 6:30 maybe to dusk.
Yeah, I mean, if we did, say 6:30 to 8 could be a concert, like a concert, and then 8 o'clock we could have fireworks.
I think fireworks were always somewhere around 8:30.
Yeah, it's dusk, basically.
Yeah,
I thought if you started 6:30 to 8:30, that would give you a pretty good window.
yeah, exactly. I think if we do
What do you
sort of,
guys think down there?
and then if we could have we can have some food trucks and things like that, like we do for the concerts too. Like Aritas or
Yeah.
whatever.
I would definitely, like, our fireworks are awesome, to give you a plug on that.
I agree with the fireworks. I think
Yeah, I would.
everybody likes them.
What would we
You
limit
can
the
actually
ven-
hear them from a
What would we-
distance. You can see them and you can hear them. The thing that worries me is the little kids jumping up and down on a moon bounce,
Yeah, well, I think we've decided.
transmitting germs, and how do you
Yeah,
clean them?
we decided that part of the program is gone. I think what we're looking here is at a hybrid, that it would be a concert series with fireworks, and we've had very good luck.
Yeah.
And with that, Tom, you were going to say
We're
something, I'm
saying
sorry.
If you're going to have vendors, how many would you limit it to?
Well, I think
I think we don't have the vendors.
we don't have the vendors.
Okay, I thought
think we
somebody
just-
said-
The only thing we've had vendor-wise is food trucks, so we've had local food trucks
Well,
that
that's
we've
what I mean.
allowed.
How many would you limit it at to?
Probably 2.
2?
Is that what we do now?
Honestly, so right now, we sort of struggle a little bit to get some of the food trucks just from
Yeah.
a staffing perspective. So I would say what we can get, we should take.
Yep.
So if we do.
Well, I'd like to put a limit on it, maybe no more than 4.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I was going to
fine.
say. 4.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yep.
so I guess if I can just maybe summarize, and if somebody'd like to make the motion, the amusement parts and the booth setups for informational booths for Community Day will not happen this year. The programs will start between 6 and 6:30. We will limit it 6:30 p.m. with a concert and food trucks limited to no more than 4, culminating with the fireworks.
That sounds great. Mr. President, I so move.
Okay, somebody want to second that?
Second it.
Questions or discussion?
I'm good.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, there are some other events coming up. There's the summer concert series, planning commission, zoning hearings, summer concert series again. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Thank you for coming out
Aye.
this evening.
That's all right. We're like
Longer than you thought.